Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Hope you're doing well. Your teachers are going to miss you today, but we'll be working hard. Okay, you want to, as always, do this warm up, right? And you want to do your best. And I would press pause first, then go do it, right? And then you want to come back and see how you did. Now, on these middle ones here, these find equivalent fractions, I want you to find all the fractions down here that are equivalent to 1/4. All the fractions down here that are equivalent to 2/5, and all the fractions down here that are equivalent to 1/3. Okay? And I think you can do that. And let me give you this last diamond before I go. Yeah, that's right. 1600ths and 1/2. All right. Smiley says, good luck. Go ahead and have at it. We will see you in a little bit. Oh, before you go, in order to change a fraction to a decimal, who remembers how to do it? You divide the bottom into the top. So the denominator into the numerator. In this case, 5 into 4. And then again, people say that weren't paying attention last time, but it won't fit. 5 won't fit into 4, and that's true, and that'll always be the case unless it's an improper fraction. So what do? 4 is equal to 4 and 0/10. So you're adding a decimal, adding a 0, and bringing that decimal up. Now you're pretending there's no decimal there, 5 into 40. Okay? All right, have at it. We will see you in a few minutes when you're done, and hopefully you will do well. Okay? All right. All right, welcome back, everybody. Let's get these answers. World's most famous diamond is 42 and 13. It's 6 times 7, 6 plus 7. 45 and 14. That's going to be a 9 and a 5. Now, what's going to work here? You've seen this one already once this week. 4/10 and 4/10, right? 4 times 4 is 16, but I had to move the decimal over once there and once there so I could pretend those were whole numbers, right? Pretend there's no decimal. And then when I line up the decimal to add 4/10, the decimal goes right above the other decimal, and then it comes straight down and you add. All right, so that's how that works. How about this one? Oh, did you make a mistake? No. What else equals 16? 8 times 2, and 8/10 plus 2/10 is 10/10, and 10/10 is 1/2, right? 10/10. Wait a minute, that's fraction, Mr. Daniel. Haha, yeah, 10/10 and 10/10. Anyway, on to the equivalent fractions. Okay, how do I do that? Well, if I divided the top and the bottom by 2, I would get 2 over 5. So 4/10 is the same. Okay. Now, 3 goes into 12 how many times? 4 times. So 3 goes into 3 once, goes into 12 4 times. So that's the same as 1/4. 4 goes into 4 once, it goes into 16 4 times. So the 4/16 also comes here. What's going to go here? Well, 3 goes into 6 2 times and goes into 15 5 times. 6/15 is the same as 2/5. Now, 7 goes into 14 twice and goes into 35 5 times. So if I multiply this by 7 over 7, I get 14 over 35. So that makes that equivalent. 7 goes into 7 once, into 28 4 times. So 7/28 is equivalent to 1/4. 8 goes into 8 once and goes into 24 3 times. So 8 over 24 is equivalent to 1/3. 5 goes into this twice and this 5 times. So 10/25. 9 goes into 9 one time, and 36. It goes into 36 4 times. 5 goes into 5 once and 24 times, and 7 goes into 7 once and 21 3 times. 9 goes into 9 once and 27. All right, so that's how you would do those. Now, dividing the bottom into the top to change your fraction to a decimal. We want to be able to do that. Okay. Next week we're going to be adding another piece. and changing fractions to decimals, decimals to fractions, and fractions to percent and percents to decimals, right? They all go together. We're going to call that a portions web. All right, so 5 goes into 40 8 times. Perfect fit, right? So 4/5 is the same as 8/10. And check this out. If I multiply the top and the bottom by 2, what do you get? 8/10, and 8/10 equals 8/10. 8/10 equals 8/10. If you close your eyes and heard me say that, you say, why does he keep saying that? It's of course 8/10 equals 8/10. All right? All right, divide the bottom into the top, 8 into 5. It won't fit. Add a decimal, bring it up, add a 0. 8 goes into 56 times. And again, hopefully you've already done this, and you're just following along to see if you did it right. Okay, because otherwise this does seem like I'm going fast, right? 8 goes into 20 twice. That's 16. Add another 0. 8 goes into 40 5 times. Okay, perfect fit. 5 goes into 3, it won't fit. Add a decimal, bring it up, add a 0. 5 goes into 30 6 times. And again, 6/10, multiply the top and the bottom by 2. 6/10 is equal to 6/10. All right, 3/4. Going 4 into 3 now. It won't fit. Add a decimal and a 0. Bring the decimal up. 4 goes into 30 7 times because that's 28. Add another 0, and 4 goes into 20 5 times. 3/4 of a dollar is 75 cents. That looks good. 9/12. And there's 2 things to do here. I want to show you that. I can say 12 into 9, but man, now I'm doing my 9s. I mean my 12s. That's kind of hard. How many 12s fit into 90? Wow. Well, 8 times 10 is 80. 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 12 is 96. That's too much, so I'm going to say 7. And that's 7 10s, 7 2s, 70 and 14, 84. Add another 0, bring it down. And 12 goes into 60. That's on the clock, right? 5 times. Now, I said there's another way of doing this. We have been learning how to simplify fractions. That means if you can find a number that goes into the top and the bottom, you can write this in a simpler way. What goes into 9 and 12? 3. 3 goes into 9 3 times, and 3 goes into 12 4 times. So I could have simplified this, and then I'm simplifying this, changing this from a decimal, then I'm dividing with a 4 outside the box. Same answer, right? Same answer. These are equivalent. So sometimes if you want to divide easier numbers, simplify your fraction first if you can. That's the only one you can simplify, but I did want to show you that. Along with, I'm going to show you 2 things with these last 2 over here. 8 goes into 3, it won't fit. Add a decimal and a 0. 8 goes into 33 times because that's 24. Add another 0. 8 goes into 60 how many times? 7, because 7 times 8 is 56. And add another 0, and boom, I'm going 8 into 40, 0.375. That is 3/8. This is actually a, you're going to start memorizing that this is 8/10, this is 75/100, that this is 6/10, and you'll actually start memorizing the 8s later this year, okay? All right, 1/3 and 3/11. I'm doing that on the back because there's some tricky things happening there, okay? First off, the 1/3, when you divide the bottom into the top, it won't fit. Add a decimal, and you're saying 3 goes into 10 how many times? Oh, that's about 3, because 3 times 3 is 9. I subtract, I get a 1. Let's add another 0. 3 goes into 10 about 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9. Subtract, I get a 1. Let's add another 0. 3 times goes into 10 3 times, because 3 times 3 is 9. Subtract, let's add another 0. This is stuck in a loop, huh? Right? If you knew what a record player was, you'd say your record is stuck in a groove. You got to go move the needle. This will go on forever, won't it? Do you want your warm-up to go on forever? Oh, well, some of you do. I know. You love to warm up so much. You're like me. Yeah, but you don't really want it to go on forever. So what do? Well, this will never change, right? So I'm going to keep getting 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. So what you can do is you can say 1/3 equals 0.3, and that 3 will repeat forever. If you put a line over that 3, that tells the person that that 3 is going to go on forever. Okay? Or you end up rounding. And when you round, you don't use the equal sign. Okay? You could say it's about 0.3 or 0.3, and you could bring it out as far as you want. But you can, because you put about, okay, instead of equals, you're allowed to end up rounding that, okay? But 1/3 will not convert to a fraction perfectly. And what you'll find is when you have numbers that have a 3 in the denominator, that is often the case. All right, so 3/11 took up too much room there, so let's go over here. I'm going 11 into 3, and it won't fit. So what do? You add a decimal, bring it up, and add a 0. And now 11 goes into 30 how many times? Just twice, huh? Because that's 22. Subtract, I get an 8, add a 0. Now how many times does 11 go into 80? Well, 7, right? 7 times 11 is 77. I subtract, I get a 3. Let's add a 0. And now 11 goes into 30 how many times? About twice. And 2 times 11 is 22. And I subtract, I get an 8, add a 0. And I'm back into 80 again. 11 goes into that about 7 times, and that's 77. And guess what? See what's going on? I'm going to keep getting a 30 and put a 2 there. I'm going to keep getting an 80 and put a 7 there. 2, 7, 2, 7. The 2 and the 7 both repeat forever. So 3/11 equals 0.27. I put a line over both of those because it's going to be 2, 7, 2, 7, 2, 7 forever. So sometimes you're going to get a fraction that repeats forever with a decimal, one number. Sometimes it'll be 2 numbers. Sometimes it'll be like a string of 4 digits that repeat forever. And sometimes it won't repeat, right? That is a weird number when it won't repeat, okay? But just be aware, you're going to be converting fractions to decimals, and I don't want you working on one problem forever. If it's not repeating after 3 or 4, you might have one like that. If it starts repeating and you recognize it, you can stop and put a line over it. But make sure you put a line over the right numbers, right? I wouldn't just put a line over the 2. I wouldn't put it over the 272, because 272 would be, that means 0.272, 272, 272, and that's not what this is. It's 272727. So only put it over the 2 that are going to repeat, okay? Or the 3 or the 4 or the 5. All right? All right. Hopefully you enjoyed learning something new there. Enjoy your Wednesday. Go get all your stuff done, right? You got the rest of the day, and we got 2 days, and then you're going to get 9 days off. Let's work real hard these last 2 days, and then ask your teacher for some extra credit if you want to work something over the holiday. Okay? If you have those 9 days and you think, I want to boost my grade, so then when I come back for those last 3 weeks before we get 2 weeks off, I can feel good about it. And yeah, ask your teacher. I'll bet your teacher will give you something if you ask. All right, have a good one, everybody.